Good morning, tubers, and welcome to another video from deep within the bowels of the stink bug works. That super secret division of Dr. Jet Laboratories. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the 12-inch challenge, and I'm hoping to hear from you guys. Come on now. Now, I think Big B is building a couple of entries, both of which have, their own unique characteristics. I'm dying to see which one he's going to run. I think Vinny's building something, and I'm not sure who else is, but you guys should get in on it. It's, the list of prizes is great. Anyway, here's my entry that I'm working on. Of course, since I'm the one giving away the prizes, I'm not going to give them to myself. But, just so you know the level of competition I'm looking to see, I built something that I thought would be competitive. So here we are, 12 inches long. And yes, it's an outrigger. I figure an outrigger would be the fastest thing around the course. The course, of course, is a 50-foot spacing between two buoys, and you've got to do 10 laps around it as quick as you can, and your boat has to be 12 inches long. And so here, if we look, this little guy is 12 inches long. And I did a test fit, and man, it's a shoehorn, but it all fits in there. I've got my air-cooled 10-amp servo. I've got my 60-gram battery. Hello, let's see if we can get this out without breaking sticks. I've got my 60-gram battery. Well, I'm not sure how I got that in there. I don't want to break anything. Working on my drive line. I've got my drive line built. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And couplers are hard to come by, so I think I'm going to have to make something. So I'll take a piece of aluminum and turn it down and make something. The drive line, I took one of those commercially available, you get them on eBay, flex drives, and they're yay long. And since my shaft is so long or so short, I'm only using this much of it. And we'll talk about how this goes together. But TFL makes this. They sell shaft that work with this, so I can get 3. You buy one prop shaft and a bag of, or one complete flex drive, and a bag of these, you can get 3. Now that's the cool thing. I can have one set up with an 1/8 inch prop, another one I can set up, and I can redo this to a 2 millimeter that I can screw on those little Grotner props, or I could set it up with a 4 millimeter thread where I could screw on 4 millimeter props. So I can have 3 prop shafts, and essentially what this is, it's just, here's the prop shaft, and I put a flange bearing on it, a spacer tube, a plain bearing, and here's the deal. On this end here, let's see, I have an example of what I did. I made a piece. So this is 3 millimeter tubing coming up here that the shaft goes in, and I found some real thin wall Teflon tubing that'll fit in here, because I don't like this shaft running up against aluminum. Brass would be another story, but aluminum I don't like. So I made a little adapter to go from this 3 millimeter up to this, what is this, or 17/64, whatever is one size bigger than 1/4 inch. So this will go in here, and then this inner bearing right here will be, this spacer is just spaced out enough that that inner bearing will run on this face here. Now, you notice I left a little bit of shaft proud here. If I get water in the boat, it'll have to be coming past these bearings. Now they're shielded, but water can still get past there, and it could work its way up here, especially if the boat's just sitting there. The back end's probably going to be underwater, so there'd be water pressure up in here, and if this isn't totally sealed, it'll dribble into here. So I could put an O-ring in here by shortening this spacer tube just a little bit less than the thickness of the O-ring, so the O-ring could ride on here and seal up against this face here, because I can pull this back in and leave a gaposis for that little overhang on the shaft there. So I could put an O-ring in that little gap there if I'm getting leaking. Then I had to deal with the drag of the O-ring, but I think, so we'll see. We'll run some test runs, and I can really easily make this with an O-ring seal if necessary. And so that's the shaft. Still waiting on my shipment of carbon fiber to build the rudder. We got this in here. Yeah, it's a shoehorn. I'm going to have to maybe shorten motor leads, something, because it's a real tight fit, but it fits. Okay, so let's see. We talked about that. Oh, the servo in here. Let's see if I can delicately get this out here. I'm going to get all these leads out here, because I wanted to show you the little servo I'm running. I'm running this little 5-gram servo instead of the 9-gram servos that are so common everywhere. There we go. And I'll probably have to take that out to move this out of the way. Yeah, it's a shoehorn in here. That's why I have these tweezers. Yeah, see, I'll do something with these wires too. That's the servo wire. Hello, look at that. See, here's your regular servo leads. Yeah, look at that. Save a little weight there. And then it has that great big plug on it, but I guess that's better than those little, what are they, JST plugs? So here's my little speed control. And my receiver just fits in between the motor and the wall. And here is this little servo. And we'll compare it to your typical run-of-the-mill 9-gram servo, and you can see that it's an order of magnitude smaller. It's much smaller. So that'll work. And then I'm going to run that Sullivan cable along the side here. I'll notch the motor mount. The cable will come out right here in this little depression. It'll have to come out at a bit of an angle, and it'll go to a easy connector here, and at this end it'll have a little micro connector here that solders to this cable. So the cable will run along the side here. I can't cover this thing until these are all in. The servo, the receiver, everything's going to get hot glued into place. So boom, there it is. I'll glue it into place and call it good. Built the ski. Structurally, the aluminum is the structure of the ski. Notice I ran the grain this way because it's going to be under compression here, but that makes it really hard to build because when the grain's going this way, it's really flimsy, and if you look at it wrong, it'll crack along that grain. So for future builds, I don't think you need the strength. You know, this aluminum bit will give you everything you need. So I'm going to do the grain that way. It's a whole lot easier to shape. And I am going to make more of these, and I'm going to do the next one with the solid balsa sides. And since we're talking about things in our building queue, my friend Steve makes motors. And I asked him, oh gosh, it was back before Christmas. I asked him to make me a motor for my biggest 2S boat. And so he made me this cool motor. Now, it just so happens that I have a cooling jacket that fits it. And pop that bubble wrap. I have a cooling jacket that fits it. And so this is going in a 2S boat. This is my 2S motor. It is an 11 series motor. So it's the small diameter motor. It's a 29 millimeter motor. And it's a 1.5Y, which puts the KV right up about 5,000 RPM per volt. This is going to be a monster. This is going to be a 100 amp application. This thing is going to be frightening. So there you go. See? February 2nd, 2022, for me, by Steve. There you go. So I got me a motor with a water jacket, and it's going to go in a 2S application, and it's going to be a 2S Terror. Let's see, anything else? So guys, on the challenge, let me know how you're doing. Send photos, send progress reports. If you're working on design and have questions, send questions. Anyway, I pretty much, one last thing. This stuffing tube, of course it's bent. Aluminum sometimes likes to kink and such. And if you're making shallow bends, these tubing benders work real well for that. And the 1/8 inch one, which is real tight on the 1/8 inch tube, has a nice slip on the 3 millimeter tube. This stuff right here, the 3 millimeter. So it's a whole lot easier to get the pipe in there, bend it, and get it off. And you get a nice, smooth, even bend if you use these. It really helps. It helps the pipe from crushing. So anyway, I think I've covered everything. If you have any questions, you know where they can go. Oh, one last thing. Another thing. See, I keep looking at this stuff. I set it out. I like these little Delrin blocks. They make like little tiny sanding blocks for getting into little tiny places. You know, that's the ticket, these little Delrin blocks. You can get big ones, little tiny ones. Okay, guys, I think I've covered it all now. Until next time, jet out.